Hello and good morning. I am Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network here at Sun and Fun in Lakeland, Florida. It's our 52nd year here at Sun and Fun, and we've got a beautiful weekend. We're going to talk to Dr. George in a little bit to give you a good weather forecast. But as we get started here, one of the first things that we want to do is we want to recognize our sponsors, because this is not possible without sponsors. We are an all-volunteer network, but there's still funding that needs to be done to make the studio come alive and help with everything. I want to start off by thanking all the volunteers that the Florida Aviation Network has here in the studio and those who support us. Folks like Bill Stuhl and Joel Wiener in the Jacksonville Civil Air Patrol. Also, Terry Kurtz from South Lakeland. She is joining us in the studio today, and I can't say enough about this woman. We could not do this probably without her. She is running operations in the green room, kind of coordinating everything, and she is just a key part of our broadcast. Thank you, Terry. Glenn Sims in Lakeland with the Civil Air Patrol. Paul Adrian and John Weber in Leesburg with the EAA Chapter 534. That is actually my home EAA chapter there in Leesburg, and I want to sadly say Paul Adrian, who's been an officer there for years, passed away last week, and so condolences to him and his family. And so with me is Monica. Help me.
You gotcha. All right, we want to say hello to Barbara Phillips in Orlando with the EAA Chapter 74. A big hello to Robert Jacks in Palm Beach Coast, FAHS Team Program Manager from Emeritus, and now with the Florida Aviation Network. I actually had the privilege to share this desk on Monday with Bob, and he was super cool.
Bob is a great friend of ours, and he's helped us in so many ways.
We're going to say hello to Javier Calderon, FAHS Team Program Manager in the Orlando FSDO, and Vicky Sherman in Ormond Beach with the Civil Air Patrol.
We also have Keith Phillips in Spruce Creek at EAA Chapter 288. I think that's maybe the largest EAA chapter in the nation, Spruce Creek being the largest flying community in the country. Keith is a great friend of mine who helps me set up veteran flyer shows out there. Thanks, Keith, for your support. Joe Smalls in Titusville with EAA Chapter 866. Brenna Wright in Sanford with the Naval Air Station and Sanford Information Headquarters. Bill McClung in Tampa with the National Aviation Safety Foundation and the Florida Aviation Network.
We want to say hello as well to Michael Miner in Tampa with the Tampa FSDO. Dennis Hayes in Fort Myers with the EAA Chapter 66, William Billing Hathaway in Birmingham with Birmingham FSDO, and Sam Gross with the Tampa FAHS team.
All right, we also have Barry Simmons in Inverness, and another friend of mine. I get fortunate to be asked up there and speak usually about once a year. That's EAA Chapter 1674. Tommy Diedemann in Live Oak with EAA Chapter 797, John Lacardia and Michael Ketchpaw in Fort Pierce with EAA Chapter 908, and Rob Williams in South Carolina with the Triple Tree Aerodrome.
We also want to say hello to Lara Spoler in Orlando with the Women in Aviation International, Jim Weinmeyer and Cress Weiss in the Villages with the Villages Aviation Club, Willis Reese in St. Petersburg with the Civil Air Patrol, and Stephen Arroyo at the North Palm Beach County Airport with Stephen Sinclair, president of the EAA Chapter 203.
And we also want to thank our supporting networks that rebroadcast our shows, and that would be the Aeronautical Proficiency Training and the Wings Industry Network. Want to give them a thanks for the rebroadcast and getting this out to as many people as we can. So Monica, first of all, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And have you up at the the anchor desk with me here a little bit. It's always nice to work with a lady host and pilot. You are, you know, quite a pilot, and it's, you know, I think you're currently flying the 7.6, right?
Yes, sir.
And tell us about it.
I'm a 121 cargo pilot. I fly the Boeing 767, and I didn't tell you that I'm up for training for the 757. So we'll be flying both airplanes.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. It's my first year volunteering here for the Florida Aviation Network at Sun and Fun. I always come as a visitor, so I'm really excited to be here. I did notice that it was a little chilly this morning, so.
Well, that's a good thing, because it's going to get hot this afternoon.
Yes.
And like I say, in a few minutes, we're going to talk to Dr. George, who is our meteorologist, and he's going to give us a comprehensive, probably a national overview of what the weather is out there, because a lot of people fly in from, I mean, literally all over the country for this, and you know, it's probably a little easier than Oshkosh, but it's a similar process, right? Mm-hmm. You got to fly the NOTAM in here and stuff. And so, did you get around the showgrounds yesterday?
I came in this morning, actually,
Oh,
from
okay.
Orlando. So,
so you didn't?
No, so I didn't. So hopefully we get to see that, all the shows today, so I'm excited.
Yep, Thunderbirds are in town. But as I was talking, we got our meteorologist standing by, and George, can you hear me, George?
I can hear you, thank you.
Well, George, do you have a weather give us the big picture and the little picture and everything in between. Take it away, George. Tell us what's going on with the weather.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Barteska with the Florida Aviation Network. Luckily, we still have our Bermuda High giving us nice weather all over the state of Florida, let alone Central Florida. First, we need to read this little briefing. Weather briefings are usually based on a departure time, an en route flight path, and an anticipated possible deviation destinations. Today's briefing is a general look at Central Florida, the Southeast USA, and the contiguous USA in summary. As stated in the CFR, each pilot in command before beginning a flight shall become familiar with all available information concerning that flight. If you're planning either a VFR or IFR flight, please take the time to file a flight plan and get an official standard weather briefing to get the complete weather picture for your specific flight. Okay, now let's take a look at weather conditions. We've been following this low pressure trough and this frontal boundary that's stretching from Texas through the Midwest up into the Great Lakes all the way into the Northeast. And we can see here it's slowly moving eastward. They're predicting some severe thunderstorms in New York State today. There's a chance for freezing rain in eastern North Dakota and western Minnesota and in the northeast corner of Montana. And there'll be some rain in the Rockies. And let's go to the next one. Here we can see we're predicting it moving a little bit farther east, this weather system. And again, there's some rain and freezing rain in the Rockies. And in the next view, we're going to take a look at the Storm Prediction Center. They're predicting the possibility of some severe weather in Arkansas and once again up in central New York State. And here's the live National Weather Service radar loop, mosaic radar loop. We can see the active weather system moving to the east. Remember, radar can only pick up precipitation. It doesn't pick up clouds. As the solar radiation heats up the country, there'll be more intensive weather. This is the 500 millibar chart at 18,000 feet. There is a low pressure center developing over Washington and Canada, and the ridge I've been following is continuing to move off over the Atlantic Ocean. We have a high pressure area still over Florida, keeping all the bad weather out of here. Here is the ceiling and visibility from FAA Aviation Weather. You can see we're still getting some clouds on the Gulf Coast, up there in Oklahoma, in the Great Lakes area and over New York State. And we'll take a look at that on the satellite in a minute. This is the National Hurricane Center. There's no tropical cyclone / hurricane development right now. Here we are looking at just Florida. We've been seeing later in the day air mass thunderstorms over Key West and off the coast of Miami, so that may develop as the day goes on. And here we go. Here's our live visible satellite imagery. We can see there's some cloud cover over the Gulf and on the Gulf Coast. There's some, excuse me, clouds moving in Southern California. We can see the weather system over the Rockies going up into Montana and into North Dakota. And of course, we have that frontal boundary, excuse me, stretching from Arkansas up through Illinois, Indiana, over Michigan and on into New York State. And there are some clouds off the coast of Miami, off of eastern Florida. So that's what the big picture looks like today. If you're flying in for the Sun and Fun, the weather down here is beautiful. It's probably going to be beautiful through Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. But we're good, we're good. So I'm going to now send it back to Joel in the studio.
Well, George, thank you very much. That was an excellent forecast. And so, golly, there's no significant weather in the Florida area in the near future. Is that right?
Until Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. Yes, we're looking good.
Well, that's awesome. You know, it's just so important as pilots that, I mean, that's probably the most important thing we can do is look at the weather. And I remember it was good you were showing and made mention that, you know, like weather radar only shows precip. It doesn't show clouds. I remember, gosh, when I was a VFR pilot almost 20 years ago, I made the mistake one time. I was going to northern Indiana from Central Florida, and I think I had fueled in Athens, Georgia or somewhere. And again, VFR pilot, and I go into the FBO and I'm looking at the weather radar, and it looked great, but what I didn't realize that I was going to plan on flying it, you know, I think 8 or 10,000, and there was clouds at 8 or 10,000 feet. And so I had to kind of amend in air because I had to stay out of those clouds. And fortunately, I found a hole. I got on top and then stayed on top till I could get on the bottom. But that's very important. Weather's so important. And then when you go for that instrument rating, oh my gosh, almost a third of that ground exam is weather, as rightfully it should be, because that, you know, makes you and breaks you.
Oh yes.
So now, and George talked about getting an official weather briefing, and so when you fly the 7.6, Monica, does the company give you your weather briefing?
We are blessed, yes. Dispatch makes sure we have all the information that we need for that flight, including our weather and NOTAMs. But we still have the responsibility to go online and make sure that to get more current weather. Yeah,
I know as a GA pilot, I don't have that luxury. And so, of course, again, I learned like 20 years ago, and I was taught to call flight service and get a weather briefing from them before I took off, right? Mm-hmm. And I do that to this day. Even though there's so many more tools, you can do it real time, on the iPad or whatever. I really like to talk to somebody in flight service. I mean, I can't ask the internet questions. I mean, I can a little bit, but I'd rather talk to a human.
Agreed.
And so I've just become in the habit of that, and I just encourage every GA pilot that isn't handed to them the weather. I mean, commercial airlines, dispatch will help them out with that. But as GA pilots, it's our responsibility to make sure that we know what's going on up there and we don't do something stupid.
Yes.
Because it could ruin your whole day.
Oh, yes.
And I know I've had some situations where I got into some icing once that was quite a story. I actually do a FAHS seminar on it, but I didn't do it as well as I could have that day. You ever had any weather experiences you'd like to share with us?
Well, you were talking about icing, and so most of my training and most of my flying was done in Puerto Rico. So the only ice I saw was in my cup when I was drinking my soda. But then when I moved to the jets, actually my first IOE flight was in icing, and
All right.
it was very interesting.
Talking humanly, IOE.
Oh, introduction, operational experience.
Okay, very good. And so, in icing, how'd that work out?
Well, it was interesting because, I'm sorry, I'm a girl, but I saw that, I'm like, oh, it looks like sparkles, and the captain and it was like, well, you're flying, so pay attention. So it was really interesting, but got to learn a lot. And I'm still alive, and I keep learning. And
Well, and you know, with Florida Aviation Network, we're all about safety, right? And that's what we're trying to do, is make everybody safer. And so, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And icing is scary. Any experiences you have that you could, tell the audience that you learned from, something stick out maybe?
make sure to always read all your meters and TAFs and understand what they're saying, because you can't avoid, most of the time, you don't need to be in the air. If you can avoid it, stay on the ground, don't take off, because once you're in the air, then it can get messy, and Murphy works overtime, and then stuff starts going wrong, and just if you had taken that extra precaution to read the rest of the NOTAMs and TAF and understanding what they meant, you could have avoided getting into a bigger situation.
Yep. Again, that's why I usually talk to flight service. So let's talk about Sun and Fun a little bit.
Yes, please.
So this is, again, I walked the show yesterday, of course yesterday, Wednesday, normally not a real busy day, not real crowded, but I found it to be pretty darn busy yesterday. The buildings were full, people looking at all the airplanes and getting ready for the air show. There was a lot of people here. And I think the weather has a lot to do with that. And I look for it to be more crowded today and growing as we get into the weekend. So is there anything particular you want to see out there this year?
I was told about the drone shows and about the night show on, I believe it's Saturday.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't tell you. Maybe a little bird can tell me in my ear, but so Saturday is what I'm getting a confirmation on. So yeah, the night show is cool. Yes. I mean, it's really cool. Because and what always gets me is, like fire and airplanes do not go together, but they do here in the night show, and it's nothing short of spectacular.
Yes.
So I know the Thunderbirds are on the field this year. You've surely seen the Thunderbirds perform?
Yes, but it never ceases to amaze me. They're so amazing. It's so much to see, so I always get excited.
Yeah, I think they do their first practice today, and that's always fun to watch, and they just go screaming around. It's a loud event, and but just so fun to watch. I've been fortunate enough to interview F-16 Thunderbird pilots, and they're cool guys, man. And what I didn't realize is that on their little joystick, they have about 6 pounds of extra pressure in all directions. And like the Blue Angels have a spring on their stick, and it's like, I don't remember how many pounds it is, but it's like 15 or so.
Wow.
And it's so that they can do those precise rolls, because the stick's always pushing back against them. And so they've got, I wouldn't call it extra help, it's probably extra difficult for them to do that, right? But when you realize what, you know, they're doing up there and what they're going through to do it. And gosh, if you've ever seen it documented on any TV shows, it's nothing short of amazing.
Yes.
And so we're lucky here in the United States to have such incredible aerobatic teams from our military, who is the best in the world. So that being said, Monica, I welcome you to the Florida Aviation Network. We are here at the 52nd Sun and Fun in Lakeland, Florida. I encourage everyone to get up, get out here, and check out the airplanes and the stuff. Joel Hargis, Florida Aviation Network.